Hey YouTube, Kira Qualia here, bringing you all an update to my Cardfight Vanguard Eugene Dragon Empire deck profile for post-Faded Clash with the release of the Energy Generator, the Energy Charge ability, and some of the actual new support from the Faded Clash booster series for the Eugene deck. I felt an update was due for the deck. I had updated it since the format change with the 4 cards in the ride deck and the 50 cards in the main, but now we're sticking to the additional Energy Generator being part of the ride deck, so 5 cards in the ride deck and 50 cards in the main deck, along with some of the other changes for some of the ratioed numbers and just some of the other cards that I would run in the deck from the new Faded Clash booster set. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So to start off, our ride deck consists of the Energy Generator with our starter being Double Gun of Dust Storm Bart when rode upon. If you went second, draw a card. Our grade 1 is Gunning of Dust Storm Nigel. When rode upon by Cataclysmic Bullet of Dust Storm Randor, you soul charge 1, which the soul buildup is very, very important for the Eugene deck, with our grade 2 being Cataclysmic Bullet of Dust Storm Randor. When rode upon by Heavy Artillery of Dust Storm Eugene, you draw a card and choose up to 1 card from your drop zone and put it into your soul. So you can make up for some of the cards that you discarded from your hand for the ride deck costs by being able to place that card back into the soul with Randor, with our grade 3 being Heavy Artillery of Dust Storm Eugene, along with the copy in the ride deck. We also run 3 additional copies in the main deck as well. With this card, once per turn on the Vanguard circle, you can rest 2 rear guards, choose one of your opponent's rear guards, retire it, and it gets plus 10,000, and this unit gets plus 10,000 until end of turn. And also on the Vanguard circle, once per turn, if your opponent's rear guard was retired this turn, which will be done most of the time by Eugene's first ability, you can Soul Blast 5, look at the same number of cards on the top of your deck as the number of your opponent's open rear guards, choose any number of unit cards from among them, call them to rear guard, and put the rest into your soul. So being able to call out a wide variety of cards while still being able to set up your soul to then use this ability again on the following turn really does help to sift through the deck for a good amount of your cards. But as I said from the previous video, with us having more cards in the actual main deck, it does help just to not as deck out as easily as you would previous games with the Eugene lineup. For the other grade 3s, I run 2 copies of Hunting Gatling of Duststorm Fierce. When placed on rear guard, if you have a Vanguard with Eugene in its card name, counterblast 1, discard a card from your hand, search your deck for up to 1 grade 3 normal order without the Regalis piece, reveal it, put it into your hand. So the main one that we search out is our go-to order, Best Harvest, that gives us draw power every time we retire a card with this deck. You don't really need the 2 copies though. It also has an additional ability on rear guard. When your opponent's rear guard's retired by a card ability during your main phase, you can Soul Blast 1, stand this unit, and it gets boost until end of turn. So if you rest it with Eugene's ability, you can at least then restand it again. And if you have, let's say, a mixed up order of units due to the revealed effect of your Eugene, you can at least move this card back and have it provide boost. For the grade 2s, running 4 copies of the new Dragritter Fallheart. Now, the biggest thing with this deck is the new grade 1 that we have in the deck, which is Springing Bullet of Duststorm Glynis. Does not actually have a Energy Blast or Energy Charge ability, so I didn't want the use of the Energy Generator to go solely to draw power. So I'm running the 4 copies of Dragritter Fallheart. When it's put on the guard circle from hand, or discard from the hand while riding from the ride deck, you can Counterblast 1 or Energy Blast 3 and draw a card. So it's just more draw power, but also when placed on rear guard, if you Persona Road this turn, you can either Counterblast 1 or Energy Blast 3 to choose a grade 1 card without Sentinel from your drop and call it to the back row rear guard. This can be very, very useful to set up cards like Oswald, our restander for our Vanguard, or even our recycle card Clifton, that also can give us a counter charge back also. Still running the 4 copies of Dustin as well for the retire power when placed on rear guard. If your Vanguard is Heavy Artillery of Duststorm Eugene, put a card from your hand to your soul, draw a card, choose one of your opponent's grade 2 or greater rear guards, and retire it, clearing out some of your opponent's potential interceptors or, pesky grade 3s on the field. And when it attacks, you can Soul Blast 1 and have it get plus 2,000 until the end of the battle for each of your opponent's open rear guards, giving you more pressure to hit. If your opponent has full rear guards open, it can be a plus 10 boost that this card can provide when going up against your opponent. For the grade 2s to finish off, running 3 copies of Strong Fortress Dragon, Gilbray Brachio. When this card is, if your Vanguard is Heavy Artillery of Duststorm Eugene, Soul Blast 1, rest this unit, and choose one of your opponent's rear guards and retire it. At the beginning of your battle phase, if your opponent has 1 or less rear guards, stand this unit and it gets plus 5,000. So if it's one of the cards you rest with Eugene, you at least can restand it if you were able to get down your opponent to just having 1 or less rear guards. For the grade 1s, we are running 4 copies of the new Springing Bullet of Duststorm Glynis. On this card's rear guard, once per turn, when your opponent's rear guard is retired during your main phase, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Eugene and its card name, stand this unit and it gets plus 5,000 to end the turn. Just like with our Fierce, it has a restand option if used as the cost for the retire effect of Eugene. And on the guard circle, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Eugene and its card name, it gets plus 5,000, giving you a 10k guard. Can help just with the additional shield cost if you open up multiple copies of Glynis, just to have in your hand for easier guards against your opponent. You have the Sentinel option, but still, sometimes you just need those additional shield numbers, which this new grade 1 can provide. Once again, I know it's a new ability. I just find it weird that they didn't give it some sort of energy charge or energy blast ability from the newest set. Still running the 3 copies of Assault Bullet of Duststorm Oswald. Now, this is just the card that provides the restand power for your Vanguard. I'm only running the 3 copies now because we can set it up with an Energy Blast thanks to cards like Drag Ritter, Fallheart when we call it to the rear guard. And normally, most of the time, we'll need that Persona Ride power to make use of it, but you're going to be going for the use of that power thanks to the setup that you can do on the following turn with this card, since your opponent has to be at a grade 3 for you to use Oswald. For more recycle power, I'm running the 3 copies of Wild Bullet of Duststorm Clifton. On this card's rear guard, when it attacks or boosts, if your opponent's rear guard was retired this turn, you can get plus 2,000 to the end of that battle for each of your opponent's open rear guards. And on the rear guard, at the end of the battle that boosted, if you have a Vanguard with Eugene and its card name, retire this unit, choose up to 3 cards from your soul, and if you chose 1 or more cards, return them to the deck and shuffle. If you did not countercharge this turn, countercharge 1. So this can help to put back some unneeded cards in your soul as well that you potentially didn't want to be in your soul back into the deck with this card's recycle power. We have the other grade 1 that was a once per turn putback, but I find Clifton just to be a lot more consistent. Once again, you can use cards like your Fallheart to return this card back onto the field to then use its ability over and over again also. With the last of the grade 1s being 4 copies of Twin Buckler Dragon, not running the Elementaria Sanctitude just because I wanted to keep more available units to call out with the use of Eugene's ability. I didn't really want to risk having to put, Elementaria Sanctitude into the soul when I reveal it for its ability. With the orders that we run being the 4 copies of Best Harvest, choose one of your Vanguards until end of turn. It gets the Vanguard ability of when your opponent's rear guard is retired during your mid phase, draw a card. If your opponent has 5 rear guards and you're able to retire all 5 of them, that's a draw 5 if you activated Best Harvest before you started retiring any of their rear guards. And then for the trigger lineup, going with the 7 criticals, so 4 copies of Blaze Maiden Zone, and I have 3 copies of Conduct Spark Dragon. If you have the ability critical, you can always swap it for one of these spots here. Same with the draw lineup as well. If you have the Flare Veils, you can place them here for this spot. And also with our heals being White Light Dragon and Parasolis, just more, guard options with this card. And having a 5k shield option with our Glynis is fine by me just to run the normal heal triggers to begin with our over trigger being Drag Veda for the restand power that we can provide on top of Eugene's own ability with Oswald, and then just being able to restand it with the over trigger to begin with. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed. Like I said, just an update to the Eugene deck. It is one of the, decks I've been deck profiling for Dragon Empire for the longest while now. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And Kira Qualia out.